The night sky has always been our warning screen. Every time humanity ignored it, history paid the price. Ancient civilizations carved comets into stone as omens. Medieval kings panicked when tales of fire crossed the heavens. Even modern astronomers go quiet when certain objects appear in their telescopes. And now, two of them are back. Not asteroids, not normal comets, but what some scientists are privately calling living comets. Objects that behave unlike anything we've recorded before. They don't just follow gravity. They react. And right now they're heading in Earth's direction. Their movement isn't random. Their behavior isn't predictable. And what makes them terrifying is that they've started doing something no comet should ever do. And if this topic fascinates you, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications right now, because we're covering real cosmic anomalies that mainstream media avoids. Now, let's break this down. For centuries, comets were simple in theory, dirty snowballs, leftovers from the solar system's formation. They enter the inner solar system, heat up, develop tails, and move on. Predictable, mathematical, safe. But these two objects, they're breaking every rule. Astronomers first picked them up through deep space infrared surveys. At first, they looked ordinary, cold, distant, slow, but then they started accelerating, not due to gravity, not due to solar radiation. They changed speed in ways no known model could explain. One of them slowed down when it wasn't supposed to. The other sped up while moving away from the sun. That shouldn't happen. Comets always accelerate when approaching the sun due to outgassing. They never adjust mid-trajectory, like a pilot making corrections. But these did. Here's where it gets even more unsettling. Their surfaces aren't behaving like ice and rock. Spectral analysis showed irregular energy reflections, not consistent with dust, not consistent with frozen gas. They showed pulses, fluctuations, patterns, and one astronomer described it as almost like a heartbeat. Now officially, no one is using the word alive. Not publicly anyway. But internally, the language has already changed. Instead of calling them dead matter, some teams started using terms like active systems and dynamic surfaces, because they're not passively drifting, they're interacting. The first comet, let's call it Object A, began rotating at inconsistent speeds. One rotation would take 11 hours, then suddenly 14, then back down to 9. That's not physics, that's decision-making behavior. The second one, Object B, started ejecting material, not randomly, but in specific intervals that form sequences, almost like signals. Not radio, not electromagnetic bursts. Physical ejections, timed, repeating, as if something inside it is cycling. Now here's where the term living comet even entered the conversation. If you look at volcanic worlds, like Io, you see internal activity. But this isn't tidal heating. These objects are too far away for that. They shouldn't have internal energy systems this active, unless they're not just frozen remnants, unless there's something else entirely. And now let's talk trajectory. Both of these objects are on intersecting orbital planes relative to Earth. That doesn't mean impact, but it does mean proximity. Close enough for advanced telescopes, close enough for atmospheric interactions, close enough for magnetospheric effects, close enough to matter. One is expected to pass within several million kilometers. In cosmic terms, that's brushing shoulders. The other, even closer. And the problem isn't impact, it's influence. You see, when large objects with unusual electrical or magnetic properties pass through Earth's space environment, They don't need to hit us to affect us. They can disturb the solar wind, distort the magnetosphere, interfere with satellites, modify atmospheric ion layers. And if these comets possess internal electromagnetic activity, then we're not just watching rocks, we're watching moving systems. There's another detail people aren't talking about: their tails. Every comet has a tail. We know that. But these tails are structured. Not just streams, they show filament patterns. Braided formations, localized bright knots that move upward along the tail against the solar wind. That's like smoke flowing back into a chimney. It doesn't make sense unless something is generating force from within. One junior astronomer made a quiet observation. These look less like debris and more like migrating objects. That line never made it into the official report. Now here's the uncomfortable question. If an organism evolved under extreme conditions elsewhere in the universe, would it look like something from Earth? Number. It wouldn't need carbon the way we do. It wouldn't need oxygen. It wouldn't need water. Life elsewhere could be based on plasma, electromagnetic structures, quantum field interactions, and comets? They're perfect habitats, frozen on the outside, shielded from radiation, ancient on the inside. If something existed inside one for millions of years, it wouldn't look like an alien. It would look like a celestial body itself. And here's where scientists quietly get nervous. These two objects didn't originate from the Kuiper Belt. Their orbits don't match typical Oort cloud dynamics either. They're interstellar, visitors, not born in our system, which means they come from somewhere else. And whatever shaped them was outside our solar system. Now let's address the big question. Are they dangerous? Not in the Hollywood way. No explosive impact, no city-ending event. But subtle danger is more dangerous than obvious danger. The risk is interaction with Earth's electromagnetic environment, with our satellites, with communication systems, with atmospheric systems. If their internal activity is strong enough, they could create localized distortions in space weather that can knock out GPS, distort radio communications, trigger auroral anomalies, even affect power grids, not permanently, but during close approach, anything is possible. And there's already weird data. A few deep space radar scans experienced unexplained noise when tracking these objects. Not equipment failure. Cross-verified by separate arrays. It was like interference, but not solar, not cosmic background. Something localized around the objects themselves. Now, mainstream science will tell you these are just unusual comets. But science also once said stones can't fall from the sky, until meteorites proved them wrong. Science once said the sun revolved around Earth, until it didn't. And science once said microbes didn't exist, until a microscope changed everything. Here's another strange fact. The brightness fluctuation of these objects doesn't match surface reflection. It looks like internal luminosity variation, as if parts of it are lighting up from inside. And no known natural process explains that behavior in a body this cold, this old, and this far from the sun. Some scientists are now waiting to see if they change behavior during close approach, because if they're reacting, they might react to Earth, to our magnetic field, to our satellites, to our radio emissions, to the artificial noise of our civilization. A moving planet filled with signals. And here's the part that really unsettles people. Their approach angles are mirrored. Two separate objects from two separate deep space origin points. Yet their vectors are aligned with Earth's orbital plane. That kind of alignment is astronomically unlikely. Yet here we are. Now, I'm not saying they're intelligent. I'm not saying they're controlled. But the universe is far older than us, far larger than us. and far more complex than we like to imagine. And these two objects, they are behaving like something with internal rules we don't yet understand. In the coming months, more data will come in. More scans, more spectroscopy, more trajectory mapping. We'll see if they change speed again, if their emissions shift, if their internal pulses change rhythm, and when they pass near Earth, that's when things might get really interesting. Because the question isn't just, are they alive? The question is, if they are, what does that mean about the universe around us? What else might be out there? Moving, watching, passing through, and most importantly, if these are living comets, they're not coming to destroy us, they're just passing by. Like something that existed long before us and will still exist long after. And the only thing we can do right now is watch. If you want a follow-up episode when they get closer, let me know. And tell me what you think they really are. Ancient life, alien technology, or just misunderstood cosmic phenomena. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us as the sky starts changing.